What's happening? What up? What it do? That's for sure. But everybody in my city say, what up, doe? What's happening? What up? What up? What up, doe, y'all? Salute, salute, salute. Copyright disclaimer. Under Section 107 of the Copyright Act, 1976, allowance is made for the fair use for the purpose such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research, y'all. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statutes that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit, educational, or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use, y'all. You heard me say it. You can't say I didn't. It's in the chat. It's in the description. Y'all can't sue me. Shout out to the replay gang. Salute, salute, salute to the replay gang. Let yours truly in the biggest, and I mean the biggest M, I know how you feel. We can agree, we can disagree. Everybody comment, share the live in my TikTok voice, yo. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet. That is all free. It's all free, yo. We do have this link right here. If you want to click on this link and become part of the 100 tribe, we are a tribe over here. We are a tribe, and I mean a tribe. I meant it. And we are for real. 100. We have 5 different levels. Each level comes with more and more perks. Check them out, yo. And me and Big M did agree. You would look better in green over here. You would look better in green over here. Just our opinion, you know? Bushwatchers, yes, y'all. I see y'all up there. Hit that thumbs up button for yours truly. And the biggest, and I mean the biggest M. I know, you know? Shell Baby 92. Salute, salute, salute. Hello, ladies. Blessings to you both. Blessings to you. Blessings be to you. Big M might not make it to this one, yo. That's all right though. Y'all, listen here. Ashlee's body is in America. The audacity of Joe. I'm gonna just say that the audacity of JoJo. Ashlee's body is here. Let's just see what's going on. This is from, let me see how long ago this one is from. 1 hour ago. We have an update from 1 hour ago, folks. Justice for Ashlee, justice for Ashlee, justice for Ashlee.
Ashlee Jenae case are getting heavier by the day, and it's honestly been such a whirlwind watching this case turn into a literal nightmare. Guys, apparently there's a long CCTV footage that exists that could solve this case immediately. But according to sources down in Zanzibar, they are not going to be releasing the footage. One, because the authorities have allegedly been paid off. By who, you ask? Allegedly, Joe McCann. Two, the family not traveling to Zanzibar has made it easier for the authorities down there to just throw things under the rug. Baby, I thought the $50,000 they were raising was to travel to Zanzibar to get answers, but reportedly they won't be traveling. And this has just made getting answers so difficult. But get this, the owner of Zuri Resort, who is a top-shot billionaire, may allegedly also be involved in the cover-up because he has also not said a word. Nothing, no statement. And that is very weird, guys. Somebody doesn't just die in your resort and you say nothing. Every day this case just gets more complicated. But let's just get right into it. For starters, like I said, sources have revealed that there's CCTV footage of everything that happened from the time Joe and Ashlee argued to how they were separated until the ambulance showed up to take Ashlee.
Folks, there should be multiple surveillances because it was super surveillance stuff, yo. So I would really hope you have every moment from leading up to that. Just saying. And also, y'all, our fellow colored women in Zanzibar are not a fan of Ashlee. Even though they have the same skin tone, it's more like she's an American, they're not. And they do not support what has happened to Ashlee. It's diabolical, yo. Justice for Ashlee.
a hospital. See, Ashlee's father, Harry Robinson, has been very vocal about the fact that this is a luxury resort, and there are cameras everywhere, and he's not wrong. At a high-end spot like the Zuri Zanzibar, security is a standard, so it's so mind-boggling that the one thing that would solve this case 100% is the one thing the authorities in Zanzibar are not releasing. I mean, if cameras were in the hallways or common areas, we should see the exact moment the vibe shifted between Ashlee and Joe. Was it just a verbal spat? Did things get physical? And who really entered her room? If there was any foul play, CCTV footage would tell us exactly what happened. And the footage is there. Also, the staff reportedly moved Joe to a separate villa, a 10-minute walk away. And if what they are saying is true, footage should show Joe being escorted or walking to that second villa. If he's seen heading back toward Ashlee's room at any point during those private hours, the "he was 10 minutes away" alibi completely crumbles. And if you did not go anywhere near Ashlee, then Joe should be the one pushing for the CCTV footage to be.
That part, Joe's silence is very indicating, but that's just my opinion. Doesn't make it facts. Let me ask y'all this. Don't y'all find it kind of odd that 15 minutes before our girl Ashlee is found? Let me ask y'all something. Let's use our brains for a minute. So the guy in the hotel, the hotel worker, right? He said he came back about 15 minutes later, give or take. Even if it was 30 minutes later, 15 added on 15, does that give Ashlee enough time to truly tie that thing around her neck, hang from the door, and die in 30 minutes? Or even, let's say he really came back in 15 minutes. He said 15 minutes, so I was trying to give him a little grace. So in 15 minutes, could have Ashlee, which was what he said, he gave her a cord and she told him to come back in 15 minutes and check on her, right? In 15 minutes, I don't think. And again, remember, the story said that she was still alive when he found her, right? They threw that in there. And then she was transferred to another hospital. All smells like shit. I feel like Mr. Hotel Guy is a player in the game. For sure. I don't think it's a coincidence. I think he is a player on the chessboard in this case. That's my opinion. Shell Baby, if you're in here, what do you think?
Released because it would prove that he is innocent, right? Now, a hotel worker also allegedly found Ashlee in a closet with a bathrobe belt around her neck, and surveillance would show Ashlee asking for the phone charger they said she asked for, exactly when that staff member entered the room later. Joe also reportedly told the family Ashlee was stable when she was in the hospital, and if the footage shows her being carried out in a state that clearly wasn't stable, it proves he was already managing the narrative and potentially downplaying the severity to buy time. Or it could prove that everything he has been saying.
And y'all, he who controls the narrative controls the perspective. Yup. He absolutely did it. It didn't even take 15 minutes. It can take a few minutes to take someone's life, express it away. Sorry, Shell Baby, my bad. But yeah, Shell Baby, did you hear what I asked about the hotel worker? Right. So, do you think in 15 minutes, because remember, allegedly, even though her body's back in America, they haven't changed anything. It's not changed. The manner of unaliving, the manner of ref is not changed. So obviously that means the autopsy is done, the report is made, and it's still being deemed a suicide, folks. Especially how it's taken, he played a big part. Right, because my thing is, y'all, is Big M, you're late. My thing is this,
now
y'all.
You know I'm old. You're supposed to call me.
Oh yeah, no, I forgot to call. My bad. Salute to a humble queen. I'm glad you're here. Did you show Mercy Lynn my song?
No.
Okay, no worries. But no, I was just saying, Big M, me and Shell Baby were talking a little bit, but we were thinking about it. Remember, I was asking everybody a question. The hotel worker said that she asked for a charger, and then 15 minutes later he came back, right? So if Ashlee unalived herself, is 15 minutes enough time to tie that around her neck, hook it up to the door, and hang and die in 15 minutes? And then I said that I feel like he's a player in the game.
Well, I don't think that she did it herself.
No, I'm
So
saying, I don't think, but I'm just saying this is to stump him to prove that he is a liar. Because if that was to be true, if I don't think she could have did it that quickly. In the 15 minutes that he came back. That's why I'm saying it goes to stomp the narrative that she did it to herself, in my opinion. Because I feel like somebody at the hands of somebody else, yes, in maybe 4 or 5 minutes, put him in arm lock, whatever, it could be done. But for a human being to take their own life, to tie that around their neck and hang, I feel like it would take longer. Because you got the setup alone is going to take at least, I don't know, I never tried it, but just the setup alone. And maybe the courage to, get up to actually do it. 15 minutes?
okay. I watched her stuff. I wasn't familiar with her, so I went and watched her Instagram and some of her little TikTok stuff, right? This lady went to get her nails done, her hair done, her toes done. She was excited. She was blogging everything. There's no way in the world this girl killed herself. And they're going to find out when they do the autopsy that it's going to be something in her system.
No, Big M, listen. Ashlee's back in America. The report is not changed. It's still, they've done, so for her body to be back in America, that means everything that Zanzibar or Tanzania was gonna do, for the investigation, is done because her body's in America.
Yes.
And it's still ruled a suicide.
I know, yeah. Over there. But when they get back here and they're going to do something to come out, it's not going to be a suicide. I guarantee you that.
Well, they said that there was an American person over there the whole time, and that's what kind of made it kind of funky. But do you think they are gonna do anything with Ashlee's body while she's here?
They should, but I think they took samples well. But you know what? It's going to take some weeks for it to come back. It's not back yet. It's completed, but it's not ready yet.
Oh, the results, right? The results are not in. Wasn't she also asphyxiated? Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. This one, yes. Yes, ma'am. This is intense because, again, I'm just thinking about this hotel player has got me itching my ass, y'all. Real bad, because it's like I can't stop thinking about why he said 15 minutes and the phone cord and then the separate rooms. And this is
Because it was the end of his shift. He was getting our work.
Oh yeah, and he was getting off work. Get the fuck out of here, yo. Come on now.
He was going home. It was his charger, personal charger. He was about
Shit,
to
I
leave
wouldn't.
personal charger.
I wouldn't have been ready. I wouldn't have been wanting to deal with shit. I wouldn't have let no one. If I was about to get out of work, I'm like, oh, I don't got no charger. When I'm ready to get out of work, I'm like, I'm a bitch. I'm not at work the last 15 minutes, if you feel me. So it's a no for me. I can't help you with shit. But I do get it. They're at a high-end hotel or motel, whatever they call it over there in Zanzibar. But justice for Ashlee. Justice for Ashlee. Justice for Ashlee. I wonder what Joe's doing. Not only that worker just walks in your room because you don't answer the door. Right. It's kind of weird she felt so comfortable in another country, y'all. I don't know if I would ask a hotel worker in another country for a charger. I don't even know. That's a very valid point, Shell Baby 92. Thank you for pointing that out. That's actually a really good point. Setup.
from the start is true. So the question is, why are they hiding the footage? The only thing that makes sense is that the authorities are holding on to the footage because Joe has already paid to make the case go away. The police have been telling local media that there's no immediate sign of criminality, and they've even gone as far as to say the circumstances don't justify any legal action against Joe McCann right now. They are saying that he's being treated strictly as a witness, not a suspect, even though they're holding his passport so he can't leave the country just yet. Okay, but what exactly did Joe witness? Because if I remember correctly, the director of criminal investigations said that Joe was not anywhere near Ashlee when the incident occurred. And if according to the authorities, this is an innocent man, why are they still holding him? What possible reason could you have to hold an innocent man in that country for so many days without any charges? Isn't that an injustice to Joe? Listen, this is why it's so hard to believe anything the authorities are saying, because nothing makes sense. I've even seen people saying they suspect Joe is not even in Zanzibar. I mean, we have not seen him being held anywhere, so it's very possible that he paid the authorities and left the country immediately. And whatever is happening now is just Zanzibar authorities trying to cover their behinds. And it gets worse, guys. Sources from Zanzibar have also said that there's a silent agreement between the big resorts and the local police to keep things quiet, keep them tidy, and keep them not criminal. The thing is, in Tanzania, the police have a long-standing reputation for being underfunded and, frankly, having a culture of secrecy. So, when you combine a lack of resources with a massive incentive to keep tourists feeling safe, it becomes clear that their motivation is not finding justice for Ashlee. They just want to close the case and keep it moving. And in the instance that they received money from Joe, they would close this case even quicker. Let me also make it clear to you that there's a documented history.
Mind you, Joe was broke, so money that he schemed and scammed from our girl Ashlee 9 times out of 10 to pay off, probably yes. Because remember, the salary for one in Tanzania after 1 week was $150, folks. So imagine what a good thou wow would do if you wiggled it in their face.
Hi, Miss JJ.
Hey, Mercy. Salute, baby girl.
She made a song. She got a song at the end of the thing. I'll play it for you.
That's Mercy. Yeah, Mercy Lynn. And tell the other two, little M's I said, what up, though? Big M?
I sure will.
In the region of impunity within security forces. And if the police decide the case is closed, baby, it's closed. But here's something interesting. Sources have also revealed that the owner of the resort may have something to do with everything. One thing you should know is that the owner of Zuri Zanzibar is not just some hotelier. He is a heavy hitter with the kind of influence that makes people very nervous when a scandal breaks out on his property. For context, he is a Czech billionaire investor and philanthropist who is often described as a Renaissance man, but in the business world, he's a massive shark. Now, don't you find it weird that this man hasn't said a word about what happened on his property? Nothing. No acknowledgement, no apology, no statement, literally nothing. I mean,
just like in the song Friends, since 1984, it was done so well, it had to be a plan.
assuming that he would want to assure his guests and potential visitors that his resort is safe and that things are being handled. But this man and his establishment have not said a word about this very high-profile case. Think about it. Zuri Zanzibar is his crown jewel in Africa. It's won all sorts of design awards and is a design hotel's original. And an investigation, especially one involving a high-profile American influencer and a wealthy crypto founder, is bad for the brand. People are speculating that he or his legal team would have every incentive to ensure the narrative stays an unfortunate accident rather than a crime on property. And the authorities would do anything he says because in a place like Zanzibar, a billionaire investor isn't just a guest. They are a partner to the government. They provide jobs, infrastructure, and massive tax revenue. And if the owner's team suggests that a long, drawn-out trial would be bad for the island's reputation, the local police, who are already underfunded and prone to easy answers, are likely to listen. And unfortunately, guys, the fact that the family did not go to Zanzibar has made the case harder. Now I understand why the family did not immediately go to Zanzibar when Joe McCann initially called them. It was 11 hours after the incident actually happened, and he reportedly told them
And I want to let y'all know something. Do you think it was free 99 for them to get Ashlee back to America? No. It was not free 99.
It was not. It was very, very expensive to get them back. And you would think with a country with the first woman president that it wouldn't be so much corruption.
By golly, folks, again, okay, so there's a lot of rip roar. Everybody's trying to hate on the victim, which the victim's never in the wrong. She's gone. She is the victim. The victim, again, when you have real credentials, the victim is the victim. They're never in the wrong. It doesn't fucking matter. Her life is gone. She is the victim. There's no other victim in this case. So I don't care what the fuck she did here on earth. I don't care what her preference was in men. That doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is justice.
And that's diabolical that people's making it about who she was dating.
And they wanted to say, oh, why did the parents raise all this money for a GoFundMe and they didn't even go to the country? Again, folks, it did not cost $3.99 for Ashlee to get from Zanzibar to motherfucking back to America. It cost them a very, very hefty nickel and dime. Hello? So it just, again, this is a fucking America. I just live here. That's why we are part of the fucking 100 tribe. We're bringing the tribe days back. The fuck? Again, it does not cost $0 to get your loved one from Tanzania to America in a body bag. They don't do it just to do it or because they feel bad. Because guess what, folks? No one gives a fuck. That's it and that's all. So it did not cost them $0.
It wasn't even from Joe. It was the hotel staff who broke the news. Again, they probably never thought it was necessary to go because they were still in communication with the authorities, and they thought they would immediately get the autopsy report and Ashlee would be flown back to the US. It's also possible that they were advised to stay back.
And that's what you get. See, that's what we think in a perfect world, in like a modest, like, you would think that's what they taught us growing up America's going to be like. That's what we are shaped in that fake dream we were sold since the day we took our first breath. Yeah. But y'all said oh man, crazy work, yo.
Back to work with the U.S. Embassy and state officials from home first, especially since Joe's passport was being held by Tanzanian authorities. Basically, they had faith that things were good. However, when they realized that something fishy was going on and the authorities were being dodgy, they planned to go to Zanzibar. And I don't know why, but they did not travel to Zanzibar, and this has potentially sabotaged the entire case. At this point, by the time an independent team gets involved, the truth will have been.
Honestly, I would have been kind of concerned to go over there because they would have been sitting ducks just like they traveled all the way to Washington and sat like ducks. And they were sold a dream. Little did they know, they had someone from the embassy already over there the whole time. So what would they have done in Tanzania besides be bait? They would have got rid of them too. So I'm not mad at them. And again, it didn't cost $0.99 to get Ashlee home in a body bag. Let alone do her funeral. And Joe just out living his best fucking life.
They would have went there for what? Just to be stonewalled and not get any questions
and possibly unalived.
That part.
Very high possibility, actually. Because if you see, we are the laughingstock, like Big M says, of the 7 continents. This is the Vegas of the 7 continents. So go ahead and go over there with some roo-rah, not let alone just going over there being an American, but going over there demanding some shit as an American. I'd be careful.
been bleached away. And without the family there to pressure those specific employees for statements in real time, those witnesses might forget details or be told to stay quiet. Sadly, so much time has passed, making it possible to completely interfere with the truth. But one thing sources in Zanzibar have said is that the CCTV footage exists, and Joe has allegedly paid the authorities and the hotel staff to make it go away. I mean, can you think of any other reason why they wouldn't release footage that exists? And do you think they will ever release it? Baby, let me know what you think of this CCTV footage situation in the comments section below.
I see the color green and definitely the other colors too. But I think the color green is a big part in this case.
It is.
A dream birthday vacation, and 72 belt around her neck, an unidentified mark they can't explain, and a fiancé who waited 11 hours to pick up the phone and call her family. This was supposed to be the happiest week of Ashlee Jenae's entire life. Paradise, a proposal, a whole new chapter. Instead, somebody's gonna spend the rest of their life answering for what went down in that villa. And Joe McKim really thought flying back to America like nothing happened was gonna save him? Brew, before we get into it, when I heard that from her own mother, now let's look at the receipts that show why none of this story is adding up. Okay.
Hold on, I clicked on the wrong one. We're gonna go listen to our girl, Tisa? Yeah. I think. Yeah, that's her name. Tisa Tells. 2 seconds, folks. So this one, 6 hours ago, critical developments. Tisa Tells is gonna let us know what's going on.
Because this doesn't seem like a win. It seems like the worst thing ever. And, you know, what does this mean? So keep in mind.
Zanzibar authorities have finished what they physically needed to getting what they physically like them, the splitting image. She has been brought home. They are going to need money for at least. This isn't an indictment. What I'm saying, sit there quietly and just wait, because we know from what happened with Shanquilla Robinson, what happened with Natalie Holloway, what happened with any time an American passes away overseas, and the people that have an interest in it going away, whether that is a rich family, rich loved ones, whatever, they want this to go away. The only time that we got justice, even though Shanquilla didn't end the way any of us expected or for that matter wanted, listen, I know these journalists want to cover the story. I know that, and again, shout out to the journalists. They're doing God's work, blah, 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 this and that. This isn't an indictment. What I'm saying is, by everybody trying to own the story, no, you listen to me. When I have an update, I'll tell you. They don't understand the game of media, and the way the game of media is what gets justice in any case, especially when it happens overseas, and there's somebody that is not rich and powerful that passes away. Okay? Respect is every day checking for updates. Respect is literally keeping in the comment section. Respect is telling your favorite creators, whether they're Instagram, blogs, YouTube, whatever, hey, what's going on? Is there an update? Because by playing this old game, well, I'll tell you when information comes. I'll tell you when something's new. All that does is let the story die down. And that's what they want. The powers that be that I believe might be engaging in some type of whatever. They want the story to go away, because when the story goes away, they can start with the BS. As long as the world is paying attention, they will at least try to, or it'll make their jobs harder for them. If their job is to do sow confusion. So keep that in mind as people say, oh my God, let's wait for the outcome. That's not the way this game works. And anybody that's savvy and media training knows you do not get justice. And especially if you are Black or anybody, you do not get justice by sitting on your hands, quietly waiting for the authorities that have every reason to sweep this under the rug to tell us what's going on. Okay, so that's just my PSA. I know. They still have a GoFundMe. Even though she has been brought home, they are going to need money for detectives and all that other stuff. Okay, let's get into the mess, all right? I'm done with my rant. Okay, so where are we at? Let's get in to this. Where are we at? Let me just pull this up for y'all real quick. So there were tweets that were sent out. They were, in fact, heartbreaking, but we need to actually talk about this. Let's pull this up. Where are we at? Okay, that's not ready. So anyway, Ashlee's father tweeted this, and it has been confirmed to be true. Okay, here we go. Savannah Britt, that's Ashlee's BFF, said Ashlee Jenae's oh God, I wrote my own reveal. Okay. They said Ashlee Jenae's body has been returned to the United States. Please keep her family in your hearts and prayers as they await the results of the autopsy and as the investigation continues, right? Now he tweeted this heartbreaking picture of his baby who looks just like him, the splitting image. And he said, our baby is back home in the States. Our baby is back home in the States, okay? So this is the first thing. Now let's talk about why, of course, this is an emotional win, because I have to talk about why it's a win for us to truly see that we are going into very, very, very scary, scary territory, okay? 1 second. 1 second. Okay. All right. So he tweeted that, right? Very loving, of course. Now, somebody said, and this is a good point, because the family is doing something, but I believe they need money to do more. Janice Atune said, I'm so happy for the family. Ashlee's home. Lord, protect this family. I have a question. The GoFundMe is still up. It wasn't needed to bring Ashlee home. I thought it was to help for travel, Ashlee's return and arrangements. I'm sorry, just confused. Does the family have to fly there? Savannah said, there's a lot happening behind the scenes. Her family will be providing updates soon. Okay. Yeah. We've been talking about the updates, but let's get into this, okay? Let's start from the top. I talked to a bunch of, you guys know I've been talking to a bunch of international legal experts. I'm trying to get them on the channel to actually talk to you guys. There can be a question and answer field, just so you guys don't think that you're relying on my opinion, okay? I mean, this is my opinion, but you get what I'm saying, right? So here's the thing. First, we need to talk about what body released and returned home actually means. So I was like, okay, I'm confused because this doesn't seem like a win. It seems like the worst thing ever. And, you know, what does this mean? So keep in mind, they were like, Tisa, Zanzibar authorities have finished what they physically needed, to getting what they physically needed from her body. So the whole reason they were holding is because they needed to physically collect stuff. They say they're done. They have everything they need. Now, while there were preliminary autopsy reports, and we were the first to report that sources in Zanzibar actually said that the actual coroner had concerns, and they contacted the U.S. Embassy to come and get involved and oversee. Now, a lot of people, including myself, thought that oversee meant that the U.S. would take control of the investigation. Oversee just means that when Zanzibar finds their conclusions, the U.S. Embassy will explain and tell the family about what Zanzibar found. They are not investigating. They are not overseeing. All they're doing is monitoring the case, which means they are the direct link between the Zanzibar authorities and her family, okay? Again, it doesn't bode well to think that they'll be your protector. They're literally just passing along information at this point, all right? However, this does not mean the investigation is over. And also, even though the autopsy is complete, it's not finalized. They said that toxicology and the full reports can take weeks and or months. This means that the Zanzibarian officials have collected their samples and are done with the remains themselves. Her body is now physically on U.S. soil. Now, okay, fine. And I said, okay, so why is everybody acting like it's a win? I talked to an international lawyer. They said, okay, this feels good because this is a big emotional win. Her family is finally bringing her home and they can grieve properly. Of course, they will hold funeral and memorial services. She is no longer halfway around the world in custody of foreign officials. Again, look to her dad's post. Our baby is back home in the States is a moment of relief after weeks of uncertainty. Reparation itself is a bureaucratic nightmare. So getting past this step is real progress. Reparation is not easy. A body of a U.S. person coming back, not easy. However, and this is what we have to talk to about. I talked to several people and they said this is actually legally bad. Now, you guys brace yourself because this is a hard proof. I'm going to get into all these details, but I want to give you guys an overview. Releasing Ashlee almost always signals that Zanzibar is moving toward closing the case. If they were not close to closing the case, they would not release her body yet. We need to remember that Zanzibar officially has ruled this a suicide. They then said they're doing further investigation because the HRA, the Human Rights Association, got involved. But this is on the books as suicide, and they were doing further investigation. They have not changed the cause of yet they have released her body. There's more. Again, they've already publicly ruled this a suicide. Now, once Zanzibar closes it, Zanzibar, the hotel, or anybody else involved have no legal obligation to preserve evidence. Here's the thing I want you guys to know as we move forward with this. Some people think it's a fiance. Some people think it might be a hotel employee. If it comes back once they get her on the soil that it was not a suicide, what does that mean? That is virtually nothing, because then to prove who did it, how are you going to collect the evidence? What are you going to do?
Very, very solid point. It's looking like either way it goes. Again, when it's done so well, it had to be a plan. They calculated. It sounds very calculated, and sounds like this is going to be another case with a lot of unknown answers because of the green dollar, the almighty.
It's funny to me because I have watched a lot of stuff from the African people, you know what I'm saying? A lot of stuff, politics in Nigeria and, different countries over there. And the corruption, the level of corruption that the government does over there is diabolical. Ours is, okay, theirs, they steal your whole property.
Again, the salary in Zanzibar for 1 week is $150. I make that in 1 day.
Wait, and then sometime they work and they don't get paid for a month or 2 months. Yeah, they're not guaranteed their salaries. They don't have like a union like we have over here. No.
Imagine their dirty ass politicians or that big ass man that owns that hotel. We probably think our people are bad over here. Just imagine over there. And they're fighting for, again, $500 American dollars to one of the rulers over there. That's a lot of money. So there's no way around it. It's like, dang. You know, we never really know. Again, we can only speak for America, but it's we know from, again, she named all the cases. How hard and what happens. I'm pretty sure all those cases don't have any justice either. Well, justice in the flesh, but because there's always the spirit realm, you know. So, but in the flesh, no justice. But there, God sees it all. In my Shell Baby 92 with the wrench voice, he does see all.
The case is closed. They have no legal obligation to preserve evidence. The hotel rooms will get cleaned and reused. Surveillance footage typically overwrites on a rolling cycle, usually 7 to 30 days. The physical evidence from the room may never even have been collected to homicide standards in the first place. Again, we kept saying the family needed to be there on the ground. I understand.
Again, what was the family gonna do? They couldn't go take pictures. I bet you there wasn't even no pictures taken. There's gonna be, the only thing they're gonna have is that video. Oh no, if they even get that, they're gonna have no evidence. Kind of reminds me of a couple cases we know. Corrupt.
Like they weren't, but they needed to have somebody, and this might be what Savannah is referring to, that you need to have somebody on the ground, an independent investigator that knows Zanzibar rules, knows the people, knows who's dirty, knows who's not, knows how to move so that you get justice. Let's not forget that 70%, if not more, of Zanzibar's economy depends on tourism. That's why our attention and our voices are so important. It depends on tourism, okay? And on top of that, the hotel definitely doesn't want that happening. And the thing is, if it is found out that it wasn't a suicide, well, that makes the police, the hotel, and the industry look not just incompetent, but scary. You could go there, something will happen to you. They will lie against whatever evidence and say it was so because they're trying to protect their stuff. And then when it's found out, do you see how backtracking will be a problem? Do you see how if they are covering up, they need to stand on business? But it's not over, right? Let's also not forget that there's no guarantee that physical evidence was ever protected. Remember how the family was online saying, we don't know what's going on. The Zanzibar police are not being transparent with us. So because they're not being transparent with the family, because they're not being transparent about where they are in the investigation, what they have, what evidence they took, when they close this investigation, if they say, yeah, we checked, it's a suicide. Because they never said they're assuming that it's USA, where in USA they have to tell you, we collected evidence, we did this, we did that. Now they don't have to tell you all the evidence they have. We saw that in the David trial when the LAPD literally was entrapping this fool for the last year and nobody had any idea.
Oh yeah, speaking of David, they found a lot of child corn. Yep, we should have known that. A lot of shit on David's device. We'll be covering that again soon. But yeah, a lot of kid corn on David's device.
A lot. I told y'all. The dude was weird.
Super weird.
He was super
wait,
weird.
Are you talking about him or his alter ego, Big M?
JJ. Tooth Fairy is not real, okay?
Wait, what? I'm just kidding. Oh, man.
We thought they were just asleep at their posts, right? But they were on the job. They had to tell you what they did, what methods of collection. The Zanzibar police have not said what they collected, how their methods of collections were, what their standards were. They are keeping that all secret. Now, if you were really looking and trying to get the truth about what happened to your child, right? If you were really doing this and you were trying.
Real quick, so I'm trying to think about me. I'm very, very in the eyes like that. I'm poor as hell. So if I would have went to Tanzania and on my honeymoon and this happened, if I didn't have no money or nothing, like it'd be just that and that's it. Like my loved one would just sit there on a shelf or something.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, I'm never leaving the country. Even if your parent, even if they, so say I leave and I go to vacation in Cali for 10 days and I get unalived in Cali, it's not free 99 neither to get me back to Michigan, yo. And if no one pays it and no one cares, you know, just like probably no one would if I was to, die in Cali, I'd be sitting on the shelf. Who knows? I might get grounded up and put in fucking the fast food or a vitamin, the fish egg pills and shit. Never know. But that's diabolical. Wow. You would think.
You say you grind up in the fish egg field.
Well, no, I'm saying they found traces of humans in the food in the pills in a state because instead of the cremation, they were using the remnants to make the vitamins and to put in food. Yes, disgusting.
What the?
Why do you think them fish egg pills really smell like that? Fish oil. That shit. If you open that in front of me, I'm gonna puke. Yerk. It's got a little bitty. Well, not. I don't know if in Michigan because that happened somewhere else. But yeah, they definitely found traces. It was crazy work. You never know. That's why again, be careful what you're putting in your body, and be careful, reading that label because again, they could slap a fake label on it. They do it all the time, just like that fake ass commercial you see all the time. You get there and you're like, what the fuck is this shit? False advertisement. It also said in the good book, man that trusts other man shall be cursed. Trust your intuition, trust your gut, and believe and trust in the Lord if you believe.
To get the truth about what happened to your child, then one would certainly think that they are 100% being like, oh yeah, this is how we got the footage. This is how we did this. This is how we did that. They are in fact not doing that. So there is a real chance that when it's closed and you're like, okay, well, we want to see the evidence because we want to prosecute them, whatever. They'll be like, yeah, we didn't test for fingerprints. We didn't look at CCTV footage. We didn't do anything but talk to the hotel workers. And the hotel workers said they caught her doing it. And that's what it is. Do you see why this is a problem? Let's get into the witness. Witness memories fade. Hotel staff rotates. And on top of that, some may even leave the country. Now, I know what y'all saying. Well, Tisa, y'all said in Zanzibar, the median rate for a good job is 80 to 150 a month USD. Somebody giving you $50,000 is life-changing. That is generational wealth. That is like somebody, $50,000 is like somebody giving us in America $5 million. That can change somebody's life very, very quickly. You're assuming that the people, at first, Joe and the security guard said they're the ones that found her, right? And took her to the hospital. And it was a suicide. Then a hotel worker said, no, it wasn't him. It was me. Now, why is that? Because it gives Joe an alibi. For everybody saying, oh, Joe was a scammer, Joe was this. He wasn't. That man actually did have money. Ashlee did appear to be marrying somebody who was first generation wealthy, right? The fact that he had that money, $50,000, $100,000, $500,000, $500,000, $100, that's like somebody giving us $100 million. That is life-changing money. You get that money. You say what you need to say. You see that hotel worker actually took Joe off of the scene. Hold on, you guys. I have more stuff, but I'm walking this slow. The hotel worker actually took Joe out of the scene. Once Joe's not even on the scene and you have somebody else corroborating that they saw her, if something comes back in an autopsy that says it could be, and And you're like, well, I saw her. Well, I saw her too. All of a sudden, they're like, yeah, it was probably suiciding. And you have life-changing money that you can completely leave the country. And the case is closed. So why do you need to come back? There's more. Let's also not forget that unlike in the US, where you can sue the city, the state, the town, the government, if they botch a case, if corruption's exposed, if they botch the cases, in Zanzibar, there's no recourse. You cannot, there's no recourse. Wait, hold on. Am I muted? Sorry. Am I muted? Hold on. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? I hope you guys can hear me. Am I muted? It's finalized. They had no basis to keep holding him. Let's not forget, Joe was questioned as a witness, not suspect. Again, people said this was a deliberate legal distinction that the police made. In prior news conferences, they led us to believe that he was a suspect. They took his passport and they held him as a witness, not a suspect. That is an important legal distinction. Not being charged is not the same as being cleared. Again, people are saying that most likely near-term outcome is that Joe will get his passport back and he will be able to fly back to the USA freely. Again, for those saying, oh, well, great, I hope he comes back to the US because there's enough, if there's evidence with the autopsy comes back, we need to arrest him. No. The legal expert I said Joe cannot be automatically arrested in the US for something another country ruled a non-crime. Remember what happened to Shanquella Robinson? And I think the people closest to Ashlee, I hope they have people, they're using that GoFundMe money to get people around them that understand this. It all stems to Zanzibar, bringing her body back, getting an independent U.S. autopsy, doing all this stuff instead of being on the ground or having somebody close to them on the ground. It does it a disservice. If Zanzibar closes the case and says it's a suicide, just like with Shanquella Robinson, they shut the case. You cannot bring charges.
Y'all heard that? So everybody thinking, oh, again, no. Guess who's in control? Zanzibar. And guess who controls the narrative? Zanzibar. Guess who controls the perspective? Zanzibar. And guess what? Guess what control usually comes with? Fear. To control someone, you have to put fear in them, right? Or no? Well, I believe fear and control, they go hand in hand. The controller is putting the fear in everybody else to control. Just like when predators prey, predators get their predator on. They look for indicators and weaknesses. Man, this is diabolical, yo. So it's looking like, y'all, this is going to be a series of unfortunate events. But because of the laws and the rules and the regulation, it's not about what's right or what's wrong. It's about It's about the laws and regulations that are in play. And it's looking like this is going to be a sad one, unfortunately.
Money talks, bullshit walks.
Every time.
It's really sad, but it is. It's like that in every country. But
Except for America. Unless you come over here from the other countries, then they let you, walk and not pay taxes, and you get to fucking get a privilege over the Americans. But when we go over to, man, that's crazy. What country do you know you can come here and be more privileged than the people that live in the country? America.
It depends on where you're from.
Just the fact that it's possible is diabolical, because in any other country, it's not even, it's not possible. It's not happening. You would
Do
never.
wait, okay, you know that, cut you off. The thing that Nicki Minaj and Donald Trump then started, right? This little thing about Nigerians. You know, they have to pay $40,000 US dollars as a down payment to come here now.
Oh, what are your thoughts? Do you think it's fair, or do you like it? Do you not like it? You
I don't
cut
like it.
off.
I'm pretty sure they have to pay $40,000 up front for their visa to come. Then they have to make sure they come back to get their money. If they don't come back on the day that they supposed to come back, they forfeit the money that they gave them as a collateral coming over here. And you think they're gonna do something for us? For
Again, can you
a
see?
black woman?
Right, no. Sorry, I didn't see this Charlotte Stewart Friday, Big JJ. What do you mean by Friday? I can't see it in the StreamYard, but I can see it on YouTube. Are you just meaning Happy Friday, Charlotte Stewart? And what about Big M, the biggest motherfucking M that we know? Big M, Charlotte Stewart. Big M, check the big back chat.
A citizen for something that happened overseas that was ruled non-criminal, and the case was closed. All right. If he returns before any independent U.S. autopsy is done, Joe is simply a free man. He is simply a free man. So even though everybody's rejoicing that Ashlee's body was found,
real quick, I just actually justice for Ashlee, justice for Ashlee, justice for Ashlee. See, I can't see her comments in the StreamYard, but I can see them on YouTube. Charlotte Stewart, happy Friday, yes. Happy Friday, Big M. Yeah. I'm glad. I didn't know if you remembered that. The biggest, and I mean the biggest M that I know, rocks with me every day. And this is our panel. You know? What brings you over here? I'm just curious. You don't have to answer, but I'm just wondering, what brings you over here, by golly? But it's super flattering. You could have been anywhere in the world, but you're right here with me in the biggest, and I mean the biggest motherfucking M, the capitalist M, capital big fucking M. I know.
Yeah.
Make sure you hit that like button. Like with a big push.
released. This is the first step to the cover-up being completely going over, but also the fact that Joe most likely is either has had his passport returned or will get his passport returned immediately, and he will be walking among us in the U.S. That's also, or maybe he'll be overseas. Joe is a very rich man. A lot of people said he's a scammer. He is not, in fact, a scammer. Yes, he had issues with crypto. I'll get into that in a different video, a deep dive, because I think you really need to. But he is still super wealthy, and he is still super powerful, and he is still super connected. On top of that, there's a difference between Joe being under investigation and charged and cleared, and this whole thing just going away. And it makes a difference, a $1.5 billion difference. But I will talk about that in a different video because I want to stay on this. Maybe I'll talk about this toward the end. Okay. Now, what this means for the investigation. Okay. Zanzibar has primary jurisdiction because the death happened on their soil. Get this. The U.S. government cannot force Tanzania, right? Zanzibar to do anything. They cannot force them to get better detectives. They cannot force them to reopen investigation. They cannot force them to redo the autopsy. Everything depends on Tanzania and Zanzibar's good nature. Everything depends on Tanzania and Zanzibar wanting to help and get to the bottom of this. In my previous videos, we already talked about why that's a fallacy and why that's probably not going to happen, because the tourism depends on it. And it'll look even worse if they find out that that woman was harmed, and the government, the tourism, and the local hotel all work together to make it go away. Again, I do want to say one thing. People talk about, oh yeah, that's what you get. Don't be going out of the country. I think this is a wake up for anybody traveling overseas. Whether you are in a committed relationship, whether you're traveling with friends, whether you with your honey, whether you with whatever, or your family. When you go out at night, when you go explore these places, when you go and you're a citizen of the world, that's a beautiful thing. And yes, you should not put fear. But keep in mind that when something goes wrong, or if something goes wrong, it goes all the way wrong. And as long as somebody can cover it up overseas, whether that you're walking down the street and a drunk driver hits you in Thailand, whether you're skipping to your loo and somebody pushes you off a cliff in Albania, whether you are in Montenegro and the parasol breaks and it plunges you into like the lake and you can't get out. And they have to, no matter where you are, no matter what you are doing, if the local people can cover it up for whatever reason that they have, you as going back home, your country, America, has no way. Now, how do you get around that? We talked about it. You force the investigation to be free, not free, sorry. Oh yeah, free, open. You force the investigation on their homeland to abide by the rule of American law. You look over their shoulders. You say, what is that? Why are you doing that? You become a pain in your butt. You want to be so irksome, so whatever, that when you walked around the street, they're like, oh, God, here come Tisa again. Hey, Tisa. No, there's no update yet. We'll let you know, girl. That's what you want. You want them to literally glare at you while they have to keep a forced smile. You want to have the power of the media. I know a lot of journalists are like, we'll tell you more updates, because they are worried about controlling the story. And yes, everybody lying on Ashlee, everybody saying cruel, evil, hateful things. They need to stop now. But the media attention, that is a powerful tool that you have to tell people, just wait for the results of the investigation. No, because you shouldn't be waiting for the results of the investigation either. Because what the Tanzanian police decide will decide the fate, just like what the Mexican police decided for Shanquilla Robinson held the fate of everything Shanquilla had. Okay, so again, the FBI has legal attachés at the U.S. Embassy who can request cooperation. They can't demand it. They can't go. They have to request, hey, do you mind? Can we get involved? That's completely different.
Big M, any thoughts real quick? I just, we got to stop it every now and then.
Nope, I was listening.
Oh, okay. I just, we got to stop it every now and then because, if got to follow the rules and stuff.
The hotel, of course, has that massive conflict of interest. Any ruling of not only homicide, but that the police helped cover it up or did not look, or even worse, did not even care to look even, that could completely devastate all business. All right. And the suicide framing protects the resort's reputation and, of course, the industry. International cases like this, and this is the sad part, you guys, often fade from the news within weeks and nothing happens. Again, social media is a powerful thing. And I wish that journalists could put their egos aside. I wish the people lying on Ashlee for clicks and views could just stop. I wish everybody could just remember that we, you and me, and social media, like toilet paper if they want it. All it does is create a paper trail. Surveillance footage is the most time-sensitive thing. That might actually Now, they said the U.S. Embassy can request repatriation through diplomatic channels, but it is slow and it's very uncertain. And right now, it is unclear whether the U.S. Embassy is actually doing this. Again, the surveillance footage is the most time-sensitive thing. That might actually be gone. Let's not forget that most security places rewrite it between 7 days and 30 days. When was Joe taken into custody? I'm trying to find that out, because if Joe was taken in custody 7 days after Ashlee passed, they might have took him into custody because they knew the CCTV footage was no longer there. Do you know what I'm saying? Even the way her family found out much later, and Joe wasn't the one that told them. Joe could have been going around, or whoever did this to Ashlee, could have been, if something happened to Ashlee, right? It's been unconfirmed. Could have been going around and could have literally been paying people off, asking for the footage, making things go away. That could be why he couldn't call back to his family. He was doing his own reverse investigation. All right. And keep in mind that the Tanzania police have already said that they don't, well, not already, but people outside of them have said they don't have the capability, but physical evidence from the scene is likely already compromised. Because here's the thing. Let's not forget that when Joe told the police that him and 2 security guards went and found her and like whatever, and then the police chief, the first time he talked about it publicly, and they wouldn't have talked about it. They weren't even giving the family answers until this all blew up on social media, right? When this all blew up on social media, then all of a sudden, all of a sudden they had a lot to say. But the thing is, everybody's forgetting the one thing that they said. They said that this was a suicide. Because they ruled it a suicide, instead of an investigation into what actually happened to her, that means that the hotel room was disinfected and cleaned for the new guest. That means that legally, they had a right. The hotel, everybody had a right to disinfect the room. They had a right to throw away the sheets. They had a right to say, oh, that's sad, and then move forward. And some people are like, oh, well, maybe the Tanzanian police, but I would say this. How many people have committed suicide in their hotel room since they opened? I mean, I would just like to know. My guess would be hardly none. The fact that somebody went, got engaged, had a birthday, was there on vacation, in this, in that, and had just had a huge argument with their significant other hours before they hers. We don't know if it's hours. It could have been minutes before they would. And the fact that they were like, yeah, looks like suicide to me, and just closed it because they had Joe's word and he had 2 security guards with them. Why would he ask for 2 security guards to go back to the room? Witnesses. Maybe they were paid off. Again, I'm not suggesting that Joe did anything to Ashlee. I do not think that she did suicide. And I think that once we think that she did suicide, everybody around her needs to actually be investigated. Now, here's the possible scenarios going forward. I made notes because y'all know I love to look at scenarios, right? Now, this is scenario 1. I talked to a few experts. They think this is most likely short term. That Zanzibar will close this as a suicide. Joe will come home, or he can move someplace else in the world. This man is a multimillionaire. And nothing happens immediately. This is scenario, and they said this is the most likely outcome short term. Again, the most likely outcome short term. Now, scenario 2, the family arranges a U.S. autopsy that contradicts Zanzibar's investigation, okay, or their findings. Okay, if that happens, that's great because it's some evidence, and this could be what they're using the GoFundMe money for, even though I do think they should have had their independent person out there. But her best friend says that they are actually working on that. Well, they're working on something. So maybe they do kind of are getting their ducks in the row quietly too. But even if they contradict Zanzibar's findings, and let's just say they find out that she didn't commit suicide. Okay. Again, for everybody arguing, Zanzibar has not ruled suicide. They have not taken that away as the cause of death. They're still saying, it looks like suicide to us. but we'll investigate a little bit closer, okay? If they do that, you guys, it really creates an even, not worse, because that's always a blessing, but it creates a situation where, okay, fine, something happened, but you have no evidence linking who it could be. The hotel room's been cleaned. The security footage has been scrubbed. It could have been anyone. Now, some people would think, well, maybe it was the person closest to her, the only person that knew her there, her fiance. But other people could easily say, maybe it was somebody from the hotel. Maybe it was a masked bandit. Do you see what I'm saying? It all goes back to, if Zanzibar does not do a thorough, corrupt, Freudian slip. Sorry, Zanzibar. They do not do a thorough and complete review with no corruption, it could literally decide the fate of not just Ashlee, but like almost any tourist that's actually there. Now, there is a scenario 3. This is once the investigation, and okay, so scenario 2 is they do an autopsy, they find out, it was foul play. At that point, the FBI could open preliminary investigation based on new evidence. But you guys, we saw with the thing that could take months or years, and we saw what happened with Shanquella Robinson. It could take months, it could years, it could turn into nothing. Scenario 4, a federal indictment under the statute covering murder of a U.S. national abroad. It has happened before, but it's super, super rare, and it happens super, super slowly. And there is scenario 5, which I need to talk to you guys about. It is realistic, but it's also the worst case scenario. It's a realistic worst case scenario. Not enough evidence survives for a criminal case. However, and this is the one thing that might be, I hope it doesn't come to this, but it is a silver lining. The Nicole Brown defense. And honestly, what Shanquella Robinson's family should also do. If not enough evidence survives for a criminal investigation, the family could pursue civil case, a civil wrongful death suit that has a lower burden of proof, and that can happen in America. And you don't need all this criminal evidence. You don't need this. All you need to do is for the jury to say, I think it's more likely than not that you're responsible. Think about it. The autopsy comes back. They're like, there's not enough for a criminal prosecution. Criminal prosecution has to be beyond a reasonable doubt. If there's no evidence linking whoever to whenever that happened to Ashlee, then you're out of luck. However, the jury, it's not that high. The jury can say, yeah, and this is also why they want the powers that be. I'm going to talk about this in a different video because Joe had some very powerful friends. Why they want this to go away. Because once this goes into whatever, and people are like, oh yeah, that Joe guy, and this completely goes away in the media, then if you do have a civil trial, it could take a year or 2 to get in front of the court. If you do have a civil trial, well, the last thing people remember is, yeah, it was deemed a suicide. Yeah, I know the family's probably sad, but it probably wasn't this guy. This guy's a billionaire. He's done this. He's done that. He's building hospitals in Tanzania or whatever it is. Or if it's a hotel employee, right? What are you going to do with a civil lawsuit for a hotel employee? Let's just say the hotel employee did it that makes between $80 and $150 a month. What are you going to get? $2.33 annually? Now, money is not everything, but we do know that when people have their pockets hit, well, they often, that's when you become, that's when most people become really like, man, I saw when you have your pockets hit, right? So listen, I keep talking about this right now, and I have no connection to the family, but if anybody does, I'd love to actually go over this list, what the family should be doing right now. I've already said this, but let me go through the list again in case you guys have eyes and ears or want to drop this in the comment section. Hire a U.S. attorney with specific international case experience, not just any lawyer. Bonus points if they actually have connects and can be on the ground in Tanzania. There's a lot of firms that actually do this. Why is that important? Because hiring a lawyer, Tanzania and the court that this will be tried in, if you need charges pressed, it is very cliquey. It's very who you know, not what you know. And somebody that speaks Swahili, the local language, knows all the local judges and prosecutors, knows the cops, knows who's dirty, knows who's not, and they know what to spot the way it looks like if somebody's lying. They know how a cover-up looks. They know the way they move. And if they're on the ground, people get real nervous because it's like you're looking at them and you know what I'm saying? It's like with family. You can look at your best friend and be like, why are you lying? I know you're lying. Stop lying. You see what I'm saying? Anyway, right? They need to hire a private forensic pathologist for an independent autopsy before burial or cremation. Now, my last live I did, I said it would have been better for them to do it on the ground in Tanzania. Because even though the body's been sent back, it has not gotten back. We do not know what they did to that body. We do not know what evidence they might have destroyed. We do not know. Again, somebody is looking at 70% of their economy being jeopardized by this one person who's already gone. I mean, come on. At the end of the day, it's like, okay, the family didn't get justice. Okay, tears are cried. Now what? You see why it would be so easy for even someone that considers themselves a good person to just be like, you know what? Let me just, because it's not like we can help her. And tears are cried. But if the same way your parents are crying, if our children go hungry, if our economy plummets, then we all gonna be crying. So what's the point of us all crying? You see how it'd be so easy for someone to make that? Okay. Now, since we don't know if it didn't happen in Zanzibar. Again, let me show you Savannah Britt's tweet. She said there's a lot happening behind the scenes. Her family will be providing updates very soon. They could have actually flown an independent autopsy person there to actually do the autopsy. I pray that's what happened. Her family will get updates soon, but I pray that's happening. But when they come to the US, they need to have a private forensic pathologist, and those things are expensive, do 2 independent autopsies before burial or cremation. Now, once she is cremated, the evidence, of course, is gone forever. That's a one-way door. Again, they need to send formal written preservation demands to Tanzanian authorities and to the Zuri Zanzibar. Now, again, the U.S. Embassy can't force anybody to do anything, but it is a piece of evidence. While that piece of evidence might not move a criminal case forward, right? It definitely can help everything with a civil case, because civil case, there is circumstantial evidence, and that could help them get some type of justice if Joe does evade it. Also, again, this sounds really like stupid, but it does work. Contact their congressional representatives.
Yeah, we know all about that. We be contacting. Okay. All right. Real quick, I just wanted to show one more thing. Oh, actually. Again, it's super sad. The women over there, are, they're standing with their country. Again, y'all, sometimes it sucks. That's why we have to be good old advocates, because we have to fight for what's right. Because right is right and wrong is wrong, but no one is riding with it these days. They like to get down what they get down, and the nasty, and you know.
And you would think that the country's been ran by a white woman, that it would be something different.
Dude, oh, wow. Big M, can I ask you a question real quick before we end it? Can you see Charlotte Stewart's comments?
On the YouTube part.
So it's weird. Shell Baby can see him. You can see him. I can't see him, but when I go on my other YouTube page, I can see him. What does that mean?
Is it conspiracy? I don't know.
Yeah, that's wild work, because I don't have no one blocked on my block list, but interesting. But we're gonna go ahead and end it, y'all, because we're coming back, probably. Maybe. I haven't decided yet. We may or may not come back tonight. I was gonna talk about the father. We have some other, you know, the father that did that to his 7 children and one of the children's cousins. There's a lot going on, y'all, and it's like, you know, and this is kind of like my drug. This is my blow to my fish right here. This is how the blowfish gets blowed up right here. So I'm feeling kind of blowfishes tonight. So we probably will be back. So yeah, I'm gonna end it like we always do. In my the poop voice, Christopher Robin, yo. You're smarter than you think. You're braver than you believe. And you're stronger than you seem. Big M, where's Mercy? I'm just kidding. You can show her the one.
She right here.
Oh, she is? Okay, Mercy. This goes out to Mercy Lynn, yo. This goes out to Mercy, yo. And until next time, y'all, I'm going to need y'all to be real smooth with it. Real cool with it. And most importantly, as true as you can be with it, you know? Big M, you know, salute to you. Salute to a humble queen, Shell Baby, a humble queen, Big M. And again, this one goes out to Mercy. Mercy Lynn. One of the 3 little M's. Because we got the biggest M I know.
Wait, you got to do my piece. Do the piece, Mercy.
I love little Mercy. Do it one more time.
Do it again.
Yes. That's awesome. She does it just like you, Big M. I like it. I love it. All right. This one's for you. If you want to work on a little remix, you know, for the channel, let me know. But this goes out to Mercy Lynn, y'all. One of the little M's. One of the coolest little M's I know, you know. Here we go. This one's to you. And salute to a humble little queen, okay? Keep being good out there, all right?
No. Oh, no, no, no. The itsy bitsy spider, open up the water spout. Down came the rain and watch the spider ride. Oh, in the sun, try to bother rain. And the itsy bitsy spider, open up the spider again. The spider wants to make it to the top, but the rain keeps making the spider stop.
Come out. The spider needs some help. Waiting on sun to dry up all the rain, so the spider can cry again. The itsy bitsy spider opened up the water spout. Down came the rain and washed the spider out. Out came the sun and dried up all the rain. And the itsy bitsy spider opened up the spider again.
The spider wants to go out and play, but it has to wait, 'cause it's raining all day. Sun, please come out. The spider needs some help. Waiting on the sun to dry up all the rain, so the spider can try again.
Out came the sun and dried up all the rain, and the itsy bitsy spider opened up the water again. What'd you say, Mercy?
I like your singing.
Oh, you like my singing? You heard me?
Yep.
Oh man, oh darn. All right. Well, what did you think of that was my version to you? You think you could do a little remix to that?
Yep.
All right. I knew you could. Well, that goes out to Mercy Lynn, one of the 3 littlest, coolest M's I know. And everybody, it's all love over here. It's real over here. Salute. Big M, I love you, dog.
Love you too. See you back at 9:30.
Yes, ma'am. In my Big M voice.
Peace.